May I invite Dr. Devesh Chaturvedi, Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Sir, please come onto the stage. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji is here. Good morning, sir, and welcome. May I also invite Mr. Johannes Jutt, Regional Vice President, World Bank, onto the stage, please. Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji, Honorable Minister, Shri Ashish Shelar ji, Shri Nitesh Rane ji, our distinguished guests from India and around the world, very good morning. On behalf of the Government of Maharashtra, I welcome you to the session on using AI for food and climate resilience. Agriculture is at a turning point. Climate change is making farming riskier, resources are limited, and markets are changing quickly. However, there is an opportunity. Digital tools and AI are advancing fast. Our goal is not just to use AI tools, we must build intelligence into our public systems to help everyone. For India, the change is essential. It is the key to food and nutrition security, higher farmer incomes, and a stable economy. India has shown that digital systems work when they are open and well governed. Our next step is to bring AI into this framework in a responsible way. Under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the state has launched the Agri-AI Policy 2025-2029. This policy uses AI for farmer advisory services, market information, data exchange, product traceability, innovation and research, and creating capacities of stakeholders. We are moving beyond pilots to projects at full scale. Mahavistar is the country's first AI-powered network and information and advisory services. Today, Mahavistar is being used by more than 2.5 million farmers to get advisories in Marathi language, and recently, the first tribal language in the country, Bhili, has also been integrated into Mahavistar. AgriStack is helping farmers to get seamless access to various schemes and services. The MahaAgex, which is an open, federated, and consent-driven architecture for data exchange, it is helping us to bring diverse data sets together to get us a big picture. Agriculture is now a key part of India AI mission. We are proud to work with the Government of India to lead this change. I want to thank the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ministry of Agriculture, Extra Foundation, the World Bank, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, the Gates Foundation, and all our partners for their support. It is now my duty to invite our Honorable Chief Minister to the stage. He will share his vision for using AI to strengthen our food systems and protect our climate. After the address of Honorable Chief Minister, we have a panel discussion with our distinguished panelists. Welcome, sir.
A very good morning to all of you. Shri Devesh Chaturvedi ji, Rajesh Agrawal ji, Vikas Rastogi ji, Mr. Johannes Jutt, Srimati Soumya Swaminathan, Shri Shankar Maruwada, my colleagues Shri Ashish Shelar ji, Nitesh Rane ji, all the dignitaries present here, Namaskar and good morning to everyone. It is my privilege to address this distinguished gathering at the India AI Impact Summit and this important session on AI in agriculture. We meet at a very defining moment. Across the world, food systems are under strain. Climate volatility is intensifying. Water tables are falling. Soil health is deteriorating. Supply chains are fragile. And global markets are unpredictable. For countries from the global south, agriculture is not merely an economic sector. It is livelihood, social stability, and national security. India understands this very deeply. And under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has placed digital public infrastructure and responsible AI at the center stage of national development. The India AI mission is about using technology to deliver inclusion, transparency, and scale. Today, agriculture must sit at the heart of this mission. Over 500 million Indians depend directly or indirectly on agriculture. Yet, smallholders face fragmented information, rising input costs, climate uncertainty, and limited access to credit and markets. Traditional extension systems, however committed, cannot match the scale and the speed required. Artificial intelligence changes this equation. AI can provide hyperlocal weather predictions, early pest outbreaks, warnings, precision irrigation and fertilizer guidance, credit scoring based on crop intelligence, transparent, traceable supply chains, real-time market advisories. But let me emphasize, AI is not a magic. As Honorable PM said in his inaugural session, AI must be built on a trusted data, ethical governance, and public accountability. Without trust, scale will not happen. Last year, Maharashtra made a very clear and decisive strategic decision. AI in agriculture must not remain confined to demonstrations or pilots. It must reach millions. Under our Maha-Agri AI policy 2025-29, we adopted a policy-led ecosystem-driven model built on openness and interoperability. Allow me to share what this has meant in practice. As rightly told by our Secretary, Mahavistar, our AI-powered mobile platform delivers multilingual, personalized advisories, market intelligence, pest alerts, and access to government services. More than 2.5 million downloads, acting as digital friend to all these farmers. This demonstrates one thing very clearly: farmers are ready for AI. When AI is designed for them, AI-based pest surveillance, crop sap integration is our mantra. By integrating geospatial analytics with post-surveillance, we have delivered early warnings to cotton-growing farmers, reducing crop vulnerability and finance risk. This is predictive governance in action. Agriculture data exchange is also one thing which is defining this step. We are building a statewide interoperable agriculture data exchange based on open standards and strong data governance. Data must empower farmers, not exploit them. traceability, digital public infrastructure. In today's global markets, the transparency is a mantra. We are unveiling a blueprint for a traceability DPI that will ensure end-to-end visibility across value chains, enhancing food safety, export competitiveness, and consumer trust. And this is not proprietary. It is being designed as a replicable public infrastructure model for India and the entire global South. In partnership with India AI Mission, the government of Maharashtra, the World Bank, and the Wadhwani AI, we launched a global call for AI use cases in agriculture. The resulting compendium of real-world AI applications in agriculture was released in Delhi on 17th February 2026. This compendium documents successful AI deployments from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and beyond. India is convening global knowledge for the benefit of the global South. As we move towards AI for Agri 2026 in Mumbai, our vision rests on 4 pillars. Responsible governance. AI must be transparent, auditable, and explainable. Open and interoperable digital infrastructure. Innovation cannot scale in silos. Investment and scaling. Technology without capital remains just a theory, and inclusion and gender equity is also a mantra. 2026 is the International Year of Women in Agriculture. AI solutions must be designed with women farmers, not merely for them. Maharashtra today presents one of the most compelling agri-innovation ecosystems globally. 150 lakh hectares of cultivated land, diverse agroclimatic conditions, leading agriculture universities and AI research centers, a vibrant startup ecosystem, a clear regulatory framework, and single window facilitation for investors. We invite venture capital funds, impact investors, multilateral development banks, corporate innovation arms, and philanthropic foundations to partner with us. And in this partnership, we envisage scaling AI advisory platforms, co-developing traceability DPI modules, investing in agri-tech startups, supporting digital literacy, especially among women farmers, building capacity in the rural AI ecosystems. When you invest in Maharashtra, you invest in scalable solutions for engaging economies worldwide. Food security, climate resilience, and AI governance are deeply connected. Countries that master AI-enabled agriculture will secure farmer incomes and strategic stability. India has the scale, DPI, and democratic governance model to demonstrate how AI can be deployed responsibly at population scale. Maharashtra is proud to be laboratory of that ambition. Friends, this satellite session is a declaration. We will move from pilots to platforms, from fragmented data to interoperable systems, from experimentation to execution, from intention to investment. The government of Maharashtra stands ready to collaborate with the government of India, with states, with global institutions, investors, researchers, and farmer organizations. Let us ensure that AI becomes a force for food security, climate resilience, women empowerment, and shared prosperity across the global South. With this, I would like to thank you all for listening me patiently. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir, for your visionary address. You always continue to inspire us to aim higher and achieve better. And under your leadership, I can assure you the Agriculture Department will rise to the challenge and serve the aspirations of more than 15 million farmers of the state of Maharashtra. Thank you so much, sir. We will now start the panel discussion in a few moments. We'll now start with the panel discussion as the second part of this session. We are fortunate to have with us a distinguished panel representing national policy leadership, global development, scientific expertise, national AI architecture, and digital public infrastructure innovation. Let me introduce the panelists once again. Dr. Devesh Chaturvedi, he is the Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. Dr. Chaturvedi leads our national effort in agriculture and farmers' welfare. Mr. Johannes Jett, he is the Regional Vice President, World Bank. Mr. Jett brings a vital global perspective on development and finance from the World Bank. Ms. Soumya Swaminathan, she is the chairperson of Dr. M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation. Dr. Swaminathan is a global leader in science, a champion for sustainable research, and a strong advocate for mainstreaming women farmers' role in agriculture. Mr. Shankar Maruwala, he is the co-founder and CEO of Ek-Step Foundation. He is a pioneer in building digital public infrastructure that empowers people at scale. And I am very proud to say that the government of Maharashtra and Ek-Step Foundation together have brought out Mahavistar, which more than 2.5 million farmers are using today to get the advisories and information that they need on a daily basis. The objective of this panel discussion is to move from vision to implementation. Specifically, we will deliberate on how to institutionalize AI within agriculture systems at scale, how to ensure inclusion, especially of women farmers and smallholders, how to build interoperable, trustworthy, and sustainable AI governance ecosystems, and how to strengthen collaboration between the center, states, global institutions, industry, and academia. The session is also an important precursor to AI for Agri 2026 Global Conference, where we will continue these deliberations in greater operational depth with governments, investors, innovators, and development partners. AI for Agri conference is being held in Mumbai on 22nd and 23rd of February at Geo World Convention Center. With this context, let's begin our discussion. My first question is to Dr. Devesh Chaturvedi. Sir, under your leadership, the ministry has taken significant steps in advancing the digital agriculture mission and operationalizing the agri-stack framework. You are laying a strong digital foundation for the sector. As we now look at integrating AI more systematically into agriculture, how do you envision the center-state collaboration framework, specifically to ensure that AI deployments are aligned with national architecture while allowing states the flexibility to innovate based on local agroclimatic and socio-economic context? And finally, how can we institutionalize this collaboration to achieve population scale impact while maintaining interoperability and data trust? Sir.
Thank you. A lot of questions in the same question. So what I'll do is I'll just first take you through the initiatives. First of all, we deeply appreciate the leadership taken by Maharashtra under obviously the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister and with the Agriculture Department. They have done exceptional work in digital agriculture mission by developing farmer IDs and digital crop survey. And also they launched Mahavistar as a precursor of Bharat Vistar. And recently on 17th, Government of India have also launched one of the first integrated AI-based system for the farmers, which is Bharat Vistar, which presently is undertaking providing services both through the app, Android-based app, as well as through mobile telephony on weather advisories, ICR-based crop advisories, pest advisories, market information regarding various agriculture produce traded in the mandis, and lastly, the government schemes of Government of India. Now, why is this important? AI is important in agriculture. Like we started with digitalization of services, different services. We had DBT, we had online systems of applying for various common person applying through the common service centers or through the mobile apps. But what was felt was that while we had initiated this process to ensure that the bureaucratic red tapeism is removed, what we were moving towards was a sort of digital red tapeism, because within our ministry, different schemes had different apps, and they had different ways of selection. And within the state also, horticulture had a different database of farmers. Agriculture had a different database. Animal husbandry has a different database. Crop insurance has a different database. So basically, a farmer who has to avail so many services we felt that he or she was getting lost in kaun sa app kiske liye istemal kare. Or kai baar it became more difficult to avail the services through online systems or to get advisories than to go to a person and say, ki acha mujhe bata do kaise karna hai. So the whole idea was that once we have this AI-based system, we have a same platform for different applications and different advisories at a click of the button, or maybe just as a voice. So that is the whole idea of shifting towards AI-based solutions. So now, what we have initially in the first phase in the artificial intelligence system, the Bharat Vistar or the Mahavistar of Maharashtra, is that the advisories, the crop advisories, the weather advisories, schemes information, information about the app, how to apply and what is the status of that application, and also the mandi rates. All these have been put in the one platform. You can just make presently it is working in English and Hindi, but in next 3 to 6 months, we'll be taking it towards all the Bhashani-related languages. And the next step is, as we mentioned, that the states are working together with us for the digital public infrastructure. So close to 9 crore farmer IDs have been developed. So what is a farmer ID? And you must have read the statement of Honorable Finance Minister that DPI is the new UPI. So what is the basic, this agri-stack, which is the part of DPI, is that for agriculture is that we have, each farmer has a unique farmer ID with the back end, all the crops the person has sown, what is the land available to the person, all the data with the share of the land and the crop sown and the soil health card details if the soil health has been given. So with these basic details available on the system, it empowers the farmer through that ID to avail services because it is already approved by the relevant authorities in the government. So the person does not have to, or the authorities who are giving the services are not required to cross-verify the credentials of the farmer based on those based on the record of rights or maybe the Girdavri or whatever it was in the different states. So every state, and Maharashtra is one of the leading states here, we are working together to have a saturation of farmer IDs and crop survey. And once this is there, then this AI will further transform into a very, very tailored advisory. So a person calls or gives the farmer ID or Aadhaar, and at the back end, we will, based on the consent, access the details of where the farmer is from, what is the crop being grown, what is the soil health conditions, and very targeted advisories will be given, which will be made operational in the next 3 to 6 months. So instead of pushing data which may not be of interest of the farmers, very specific, tailored data for that farmer will be available based on integration of digital public infrastructure with the Bharat Vistar. And the third aspect will come when we do the predictive models. And we tried that, and you must have remembered in the inaugural session when Google CEO mentioned about that predictive model, which we did, where about 3.8 crore farmers, we used 100 years data of IMD and a model to predict a monsoon for the next 1 month and for the next week. And that prediction was fairly accurate. And farmers, we got the feedback, the farmers did take that decision to sow and to irrigate based on the predictive model which was sent. And now we will expand that predictive models to ensure that we get more advisories of the market situation, of the weather situation, which will help improving the decision-making of the farmers, and so that they can increase their productivity, reduce the cost. So that is the whole idea of AI in agriculture. And we hope that more and more farmers will adopt it, and it will be not exactly a replacement, but a sort of additionality to the human, we can say, extension services, which we find is not able to reach to the farmers because of the resource constraints of each state. The extension machinery, the KVKs, or our state extension machineries, it's very difficult to reach each and every farmer because of the fact that we can't have a person sitting in each village reaching to each farmer. But AI, along with digital public infrastructure, along with the mobile and internet penetration to in the various rural areas, will ensure that that gap is removed and we get more and more access to the farmers on services and advisories. That is the whole idea of having center and state interface, interoperability. But I hope I have answered most
Absolutely.
of the questions which you had asked for.
As you rightly mentioned, AI systems are acting like a digital friend of the farmer. So they are available at any point of time through multiple channels and in a language they understand. In fact, sir, with ministries' assistance, we were able to get access to multiple images of pest and disease. And with IIT Bombay, we have been able to develop models where farmers can take a picture and they can find out what pest and disease is it, and then ultimately what is to be done based on the knowledge created by agriculture universities and ICR institutions. So I think there is a great opportunity for us. The national government has the scale, and the states have their own specific skill sets and knowledge. Together, if they combine, I think we can reach out to each and everybody in the farming sector. Thank you, sir. I'll move on to Mr. Johannes Jutt now, the Regional Vice President of the World Bank. The World Bank has been a long-standing partner to both the Government of India and the Government of Maharashtra. We have multiple projects going on concurrently, as well as we have had in past as well. And these projects have been aimed at strengthening agriculture systems, climate resilience, and institutional capacity. As we move into the era where AI technologies are evolving at unprecedented speed, how can development partnership adapt to remain agile and responsive? In particular, how can we structure programs and technical assistance model that provide just-in-time support to central and state governments, enabling them to experiment, iterate, and scale AI solutions responsibly?
Thanks very much for those questions, and thank you also for the invitation to be here today. So we're on the cusp of a major revolution in how support to farmers in agriculture is happening. I actually grew up on a farm. I worked on a farm from the ages 10 to 21. I think every hour I wasn't in school, that I was actually at home, I was working in a farm. In some ways it feels Paleolithic because, you know, we didn't have computers, we had telephones that were connected to wires, and our ability to get information about what was happening around us was extremely limited. We spent a lot of time trying to find out the things that today you can find out very, very quickly using small AI for agriculture. And that's truly revolutionarily empowering for farmers. But, you know, to make that work for farmers, there's a lot of things that need to go right. And I think it's worth reflecting a little bit about on the different roles that different actors in the ecosystem have, starting obviously with government. My colleague mentioned a number of these things earlier. The government's responsibility is principally on foundations, things like the governance of AI, the interoperability, obviously ensuring that educational programs include appropriate types of skilling in the use of digital services. This is a big challenge in countries like India, where frankly there are still people who don't have sufficient literacy to read what comes over a basic smartphone. Ensuring that the research and extension that is provided through these small AI platforms is credible, is trustworthy, is backed by science. I think that's also extremely important. Of course, farmers will find out if they aren't, but at high expense, right? So we want to make sure that they're not being advised to do things that are negative for them. And then also looking at the costs of service, the connectivity, what does the farmer actually need to be able to link into these different types of platforms that give information? Because of course, we're often also talking about farmers who have very, very few assets and who may be essentially unable to stay permanently connected or even easily connected to the internet. They're going to have very basic smartphones, et cetera. So the government has a lot of work to do in all of those areas. Then you can look at what can the private sector do. Now, one thing that the government needs to do is encourage, crowd in private sector capacity and capital. But once we turn to the private sector, what is the private sector's principal advantage? I think that there's a lot of creativity in the private sector. So the actual applications that are being developed by individuals in the private sector with a passion for specific sorts of issues that are constraining farmer success. And you know, that creativity will result in a number of different applications that will be aimed, in most cases, to help farmers overcome certain hurdles that they face. And you know, we can kind of let 1,000 flowers bloom there and see what actually takes root. And it's amazing what you start to see. Just yesterday I was learning about an application in Morocco developed by a tomato farmer who was able to give advice about how much water tomato plants need simply by taking a picture of the current tomato plant. Take a picture and it tells you how much water you actually need to give this plant, which obviously in a water-stressed environment is vital, vital information. And then, you know, there are roles for institutions like my own, the World Bank Group, which can help to provide some of the financing that helps develop these applications, and also the foundational backbone for artificial intelligence. And we can also play a role in at the advisory end, where we are helping to truth test, if you like, the information that's coming through different applications that are coming out of the AI sandbox in different contexts, to make sure that it's actually providing information that's useful to the end beneficiary and enhancing from a productivity perspective at the farm level. Thanks.
I think you have rightly pointed out the role of innovation and research. And what we see is we require high quality, robust data to actually build upon that. And as Honorable Chief Minister mentioned, MahaEGX is one step in that direction, wherein we bring diverse data sets and made them accessible to researchers, academic institutions, departments, and also startups. And in fact, many of these startups we will see, they are showcasing their innovations in AI for Agri conference in Mumbai. So we'll request all of you to please come there and see for themselves what kind of excitement they have and what kind of solutions are envisaged. I have one supplementary question to you. How do you see a platform such as AI Impact Summit as well as AI for Agri Global Conference contributing to deeper global collaboration and South-South knowledge exchange in this domain?
Yeah, thank you for that additional question. I mean, obviously, India is in a great position to lead the development of AI, particularly among for developing countries where there are still significant challenges helping poor people to escape poverty permanently. India has demonstrated digital innovation for a long period of time already. It's got an enormous population with a huge variety. The challenges of bringing farmer-appropriate data to the farmer's fingertips in India are, I was going to say India is a microcosm of the rest of the world. It's hardly a microcosm, it's so huge. But because you have so many languages, so many different regions, so many different types of crops, and the starting conditions at the farm level are so incredibly varied, figuring out how to make AI at the farm level work in India will automatically have a large number of spillover learnings for other countries around the world. And because India, after China and the United States, is the country in the world that is best positioned actually to push all of this work forward, and because it is itself a developing country, it's very, very clear that it will have a central role to play in South-South learning for those reasons.
Yeah, thank you so much. I move on to Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Dr. Swaminathan, your father, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, played a historical role in shaping India's agriculture transformation during the Green Revolution, ensuring food security at a critical juncture in our history. Today, as we speak of a new phase of transformation driven by AI, we are again at an inflection point. You have consistently championed science-based policy, sustainability, and the empowerment of women farmers. With 2026 being recognized internationally as the year of women farmers, how can we ensure that AI-led agriculture transformation strengthens women's agency, knowledge access, and climate resilience? And what institutional safeguards and design principles must we embed today so that this new technological revolution becomes equitable, farmer-centric, and grounded in scientific integrity?
Thank you very much for that question, Vikasji. Not only is this year the International Year of the Woman Farmer, but we know that agriculture itself is increasingly being feminized, with many men actually leaving farming to the women and migrating out to the cities for other opportunities. So it is really essential to put women at the center of all that we are discussing, and I think the Chief Minister today gave us a wonderful vision of what can be the future, provided, of course, like you said, that there are the guardrails, there are the institutions, there are the safeguards and the design principles that we think about from the very beginning. So my father, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, used to say that the Green Revolution was not only about the seeds. Of course, the seeds played a very big role, the high-yielding varieties, but it was about the entire ecosystem and the institutions that were developed at that time, which included the outreach, later on the Krishi Vigyan Kendras, of course, were developed, but also the access to credit, the water, the fertilizers, the education and the empowerment, and ultimately it became a success because farmers realized the potential of it and took it on. So what he used to say is that, every technology, no technology is pro-poor or pro-rich or pro-woman or against women. It's how we use that technology. So it's really, like you said, the inflection point today is how do we use this very powerful technology that's come to us. So I think there are a few points here, to make sure particularly that women farmers are not left behind. The first important fact is that women in India, the minority of them who have their name on the land documents. So mostly it is in the man's name. And Deveshji was telling me today that this is improving and that the latest census shows that perhaps at least a quarter of the properties are also in the name of women, either jointly or... But that still means that, 3/4 of them don't have. A system that operates basically on publicly available data will then leave out those whose data sets are not available. So I think it would be really important at the early stages itself to think about how women's data can be incorporated. Because the algorithms are fed by the data we have. And so all of these advisories may be very suitable for a man who's operating a tractor on a farm, but not at all relevant for a woman who's still working with outdated instruments and trying to, till her land. And particularly when we look at more remote areas, tribal areas, where women do a lot of the agriculture, like millets, for example. Mostly it is women who grow millets, and there's still a lot of mechanization which is absent completely. It is all still very much done using traditional methods and tools, and it involves a lot of drudgery. So I would say that, one of the benchmarks that I would look at is it reducing the drudgery and the workload on women farmers? Is AI helping to do that? So I think we also need to look at certain indicators for success. And you mentioned science. I mean, I am a medical researcher, and the way that we evaluate products is by doing clinical trials, by examining the data and the evidence, and then recommending it for wider use. So again, a note of caution would be to, as we roll it out, we need innovation certainly. We also need to do the evaluation, looking at inherent biases, looking at who's being excluded, looking at are there unanticipated risks or side effects that we didn't know about. But most of all, it's this inclusion. I think we don't want those who are already left behind to be further left out. So I think the ongoing research and data collection and feedback loops, and most importantly, having the voices of those for whom we are developing all these. I think in the room, I don't think we have any farmers or women farmers, you see. So we're all discussing from what we know. But if you're the farmer, like you were saying, working there, and you know the constraints under which you are working. So I think the women farmers and farmers in general must have a role. They must be part of these committees that evaluate or make recommendations or make suggestions on improvement. It has to be an iterative process. I think any technology is as good as the application for which it's developed. I'll give you one example of an app that the MS Swaminathan Research Foundation developed for fisher women. We had very successful app for fishermen called the Fisher Friendly Mobile App that won the UN Tech for Nature Award last year. But fisher women were, as usual, left out. And so the Women Connect app actually gives them on a tablet information that they need to sell, because once the fishermen have come back from sea, it's the women who have to do all of the post-harvest. And the same is true for crops or fruits or vegetables as well. So that connection to the market, of course, the information about pests and pathogens and when to buy what and what inputs to use, but also being able to organize themselves. And I think women, there are many FPOs now and FPCs and SHGs made of women farmers, empowering them and giving them the knowledge and tools. And the last thing I would say is we still need humans in the loop. I don't think we should think that completely making everything run by machines is going to solve our problems. I think it's risky there. And in a country like India, we also need employment. And so we should think of, and this, I don't know how many of you have seen this film called Humans in the Loop, but it's a tribal woman from Jharkhand who actually raises questions about the algorithm. It's a very thought-provoking film. So I think humans in the loop is going to be important. We have our Krishi Sakhis and so on. We need to empower them with these. So I think AI and all these digital tools, if they're used in addition to the traditional knowledge and wisdom that people have, and augment it and give them at the right time, at the right place, the knowledge they need, I think we can go a very long way. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. You have rightly pointed out the need to be more sensitive and while developing systems for inclusivity and to ensure that for whom they are being developed and they are in the loop and they are being consulted. In fact, the feedback mechanism that we have developed in Mahavistar takes care of those requirements. I'm also very happy to share that Government of Maharashtra and Dr. M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation are working together on some of these issues in terms of how to bring women's right in farming at the center stage. How do we create biohappiness using our universities and educational systems, and what kind of nutritional security we must look for, because we have food security, but it's the nutrition security that we must aspire for. So we are happy to have support and assistance from MSSRF in that direction. My final question is to Mr. Shankar Maruvada. Mr. Shankar, XTAP has played a foundational role in shaping India's DPI and DPI landscape through open source platforms such as Sunbird, which has powered large scale systems like Diksha, Mahavistar, and Open Network Initiative built on Beacon Protocol. These efforts have demonstrated how open standards and interoperable architecture can enable population scale transformation that we are already seeing today. As we now enter the era of AI-driven public systems, how should we think about standardizing AI-based ecosystem in a similar spirit? How can we bring DPI into AI? And what architectural and governance principles are required to ensure interoperability, trust, and sustainability in AI deployments across sectors such as agriculture?
Again, a whole lot of questions, but let me make my best attempt to answer those. More than 100 years ago, the world faced what was known as a Malthusian crisis, where Malthus, the economist, predicted that if we continue to grow in the same way, we'll run out of land, we'll run out of soil. We were 1.5 billion then. We are 8 billion. Most of us may not even have heard of the Malthusian crisis. What happened? Someone called Haber and someone called Bosch created a miracle. Haber synthesized ammonia using high pressure and temperature, and Bosch put it into an industrial process. That phenomena is now historically known as pulling bread out of air. It took a lot of effort and, as Soumya said, creation of a massive ecosystem. Germany, which pioneered this, lost that race to US because US did a better job of diffusing the technology safely to the farmers. They created the discipline of agriculture engineering. They created institutions like the Fertilizer Development Center. They held technology demonstrations to farmers to show them how synthetic ammonia could be used. By the way, 50% of the nitrogen in our body comes from synthetic ammonia. That's a fact. So we owe a lot to Fritz Haber and Bosch. China then took it on in the 80s by buying 10 big plants from Kellogg, training 300 million farmers, showing them how to use synthetic fertilizers. And they went on to be the global leaders in agriculture. India is at a point where if we learn the lessons from such past things, our green revolution, our DPI experience, we are at a pivotal point where the equivalent of pulling bread out of thin air is pulling intelligence from the earth and providing it to the farmer. This is again not science fiction. Mahavistar, the pioneer, along with Bharat Vistar, have taken the first steps to this. So when a Mahavistar was designed, to build off what Soumya said, it was designed with inclusion in mind. Inclusion, diversity was not an afterthought, because to solve for not just Maharashtra's problems, for India's scale and diversity, we need to think of the last person, the most discriminated in the remotest part of India, and design systems that work for them. We call that DPI now. Let me give you a specific example of this in Bharat Vistar. right from the beginning, the design specs was we need an illiterate farmer, to build off John's point about digital literacy, with a feature phone, not a smartphone, to be able to talk in his or her native language and native dialect. Marathi itself has many dialects, right? Talk on the phone, like the way she is comfortable talking to another person, ask the question, have a conversation, get a bunch of answers. That process took us the better part of 9 months. Why? Because it's not just AI. It's data, it's processes, it's training the farm extension workers. It is having trust on, will this work? What about the costing? Will I blow up my entire state's budget on a model, right? Do I have autonomy? Can I switch models out, in and out? These are very, very difficult questions. It took us in partnership with a whole lot of people. I mean, government of Maharashtra led the effort, but India AI Mission, Bhashini, IIT Madras, IIIT Hyderabad, World Bank, Google, many other providers, everybody chipped in with little part of the solution. Now here's the best part. Because we all collaboratively invested in figuring out a solution there, that solution could be deployed in Bharat Vistar with more confidence, easily. Again, the same challenges that Secretary Chaturvedi talked about. Do we have the data? He used a very nice phrase, digital red tapeism, right? Our data is in different formats. What matters is the intent of the government of India, which triggered the process, which allowed Bharat Vistar to be launched the day before. It's a start. Data will get better, the systems will get better, usage will improve, that will generate more data, and then over time, years, the ecosystem will be built. This we know from our experience. What makes this happen? What is that secret sauce, the design principles? It is the same as DPI. What worked for DPI, we are taking those same principles. One, open interoperable systems. Think networks and not just portals and platforms and siloed and fragmented systems. What's the best example of this? The railways in India. We have such a vast landscape, but the rails are common. Every state can decide what it wants to move, private, public, defense, farming. The Indian Railways is just providing a backbone that allows everyone to do this. There was a time when we had different rail gauges, right? Now, that sounds so silly, but there was a time like that. India is showing that we don't have to repeat those early mistakes in digital also. By creating interoperable networks based on open protocols like Beacon, by collaborating with each other, one of us is bringing in data, somebody is bringing technology, somebody is bringing in policy, somebody is bringing in research. These collaborative open networks and with the launch of Bharat Vistar puts India in a very unique and responsible position. Unique because we have these open rails. We have the experience of DPI. Responsible because it is a start. Unlike the technologies of the past, where you perfect a technology and then deploy AI, you deploy something minimum to start, and then evolution, models get better, data gets better, usage gets better, and then it gets better and better over time. That is the unique junction we are in India. What will that mean? When ICAR plugs into this network with its weather and pricing data, that network makes it available to any state that wishes to turn on the supply from ICAR. When a private sector comes out with a very innovative app, like say the tomato example that John talked about, any state can say, I like that. I think I will have that made available to my farmers. For the farmers, they anyway trust the state. They can go to the same app and now see this also there. If the tomato app person wants, they can go directly to each farmer, very, very expensive. So shared rails allows us to spread innovation, diffuse it very quickly through society, keeping in mind both inclusion and rewarding innovation, because innovation has to be rewarded. And I want to end with a very simple analogy. When Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest, he made a lot of people believe it is possible. When Mahavistar was launched, it made the country believe that it is possible to make AI serve the farmer. And to that extent, the responsibility that Mahavistar, Maharashtra government and government of India has is to create these pathways for the rest of the country, for the other states. At Ekstep Foundation, Nandan Nilekani, we made a declaration 2 days ago. We would like to see a world by 2030 where there are 100 such diffusion pathways, each created by a different set of people in different sectors, in different countries and continents, but each inspiring different AI pathways to safe impact at scale. And it's a very exciting vision. It's a very collaborative vision. If you all get together, we can also create miracles in our own lifetime. Thank you.
With that profound thought, we'll conclude today's panel discussion. I thank all the panelists. They have really opened a new vision in front of all of us, and we'll invite all of you to AI for Agri conference in Mumbai on 22nd. Thank you so much. We don't have question actually, time question. The next session is about to start. We can discuss that separately.